everyone, my name is Lori, my nickname is Rini, and I'd like to welcome you to Rini Bobini Creations. If this is the first time you've stopped by to check out my channel, welcome. I really do hope you like what you see. If you do, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and sharing with your fellow crafters. If you've been to see me before and you're back, I'm so grateful that you are. If you haven't already done so, it would mean the world to me if you would hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up or leave a message in the comment. So for today's craft, we were kind of working, if you've been watching my channel, we were doing some different ways of doing the coffee cans, and we kind of took a break from it because summer was here and I wanted to do some outside garden crafts and different lighting ideas for the deck. But we're going to go back and do one of those today. So I hope you like what you see. Again, if you do, please consider subscribing. It would mean a great deal to me if you would. And let me stop yakking at you, and let's get on with the crafting. Okay, so sticking with our coffee can series here, this one I'm doing completely different again. In this one I have these old jeans that are finally worn out too much. As you can see, can't wear those babies anymore. But I really like the pockets and some of the embellishments and stuff, so I am going to incorporate them into our coffee can. So the first thing I'm going to do is just cut off some of the denim and Mod Podge it around. So I'm just going to figure out, and I think I'm going to put the seam at the top. I think I'm going to keep the seam, actually the hem. I'll see how it goes here. But I'm just going to cut it to size with whatever I did with my good scissors. There they are. So yeah, I'm going to start, like I said, by just wrapping it around. I'll put a layer of Mod Podge on, and then once it's dry, we'll move on to the next step. So I am going to leave it a little bit longer because I find if you cut it with your X-Acto knife after, once it's dry, once the Mod Podge is dried, you get a cleaner cut than if I try and cut it right now and it'll fray. So I will cut another little strip to put in and hide that bit, obviously. But yeah, then when it's all Mod Podged, we'll go on to the next step. Alright, so now while we're waiting for our denim to dry on our can, we're going to make the lid. So all I've done is I've taken the lid from the coffee can and I've traced it around these and then just cut them a teeny bit bigger. So we're going to start by gluing those together, and I'm going to use the 2 glue technique just so I don't have to wait for everything to dry. So I am going to use my Gorilla Glue and just put a bead all the way around. Now on some of my coffee cans I use 3, on this one I'm just using the 2. I don't need it to be as thick. And then just to kind of hold things in place so we can keep going, I'm just going to put a little hot glue here and there. And that should do it. So then we will glue them on top of each other. Alright, so now while that's doing its thing, we'll get the edging ready. Now for the edges, I have just cut strips of the corrugated. Now if you don't have corrugated, you can use just thin cardboard, like from a cereal box or something. Or if you want the corrugated, you can just wet the one layer, because you know on the cardboard how it has sort of the 2 layers with the corrugated in between. If you wet the one, give it a few minutes to sit off, and you can just pull that off. Or aside from that, you can just cut the strip and then just cut slits in it, and that will make it do the bendy thing a little bit easier for you. So I'm going to start by just with a little hot glue gluing the 2 strips together, because I didn't have a piece long enough to go all the way around. And depending on the one you've chosen to use. Of course, just make sure that it's long enough to go right the way around your lid. Oh, I'm being impatient. Just so it goes all the way around. Now, I don't want too big of a lip on this because of the way I'm going to do the coffee can. That if the lip is too big, it's going to interfere with what we're going to do next. So I'm keeping mine quite small and narrow. But to finish the top of the thing and the coffee, the top of the coffee can, sorry, and the edge, I am going to do the Mod Podge on the denim, on the circle, and I am going to do both sides when I do it. And for the edge, I'm just going to take one of the seams and to give it a finished look, I'm going to put the seam around the outside like so and just glue it, cut off the excess. I just cut a rough piece, and that is going to be the edge of our coffee can lid. If you don't want to do that, or you don't have the seam part available, you can just cover it in the denim as well, and that would work just as well. So I am going to start by doing that, and just so I get a good coverage and I make sure it's centered, I'm going to just start by hot gluing the seam right on there and trim my excess off before I glue it underneath, if that makes sense. So just doing it like this, and then I make sure that it's fairly straight, and then if I have a few wobbles in my cardboard, you're not going to see it. So again, just with the hot glue gun, just running that bead right the way down the seam as long as you need it to cover. Okay, so when you're going to cut out your denim to do your lid, so I just traced around it, but then what you do want to do, I'm not sure if you can see those lines very well, but what you want to do is add about 1/4 inch around. So you want to cut it slightly bigger than the circle itself. And I will show you why once we've got it all cut out here. It doesn't have to be hugely bigger, but just a little bit bigger, and that's so that it lays flat, hides the edges, and doesn't sort of fold, I guess is the way to say that it lays flat. So, I'm in trouble here. So as I'm cutting it here, I hope you can, I don't know if you can see that line, but I think you understand what I'm saying here. So you're just, like I said, going to cut it slightly bigger. Then, once you've got it all cut out, and we will need to because you're going to do the front or the top and the underside of that. So then once you get it Mod Podged on, I'll just show you. So you Mod Podge it, and then you've got this edge. So we're going to cut slits along the edge so that we can fold it. And this is actually almost a little bit too big, but I'm going to Mod Podge it on first. And then when we put the lip or the edge on, it's going to hide that and it's going to lay flat, and you won't get a frayed edge at the edge there, if that makes sense. So again, you're just going to cut it slightly bigger, Mod Podge it on, and then when we're done the Mod Podge, we can do the trimming and cut the slits as we need them. So I will finish it up and I'll show you more what I mean once I've got it on there. Okay, so continuing with our lid, it's all dry now. What we're going to do is go around and cut little slits all the way around. And we're going to do this to both sides, the top and the bottom. Once you've got all your slits done, so what we're going to do is, if you've got the longer spots like that where they maybe need a bit of a trim, you just trim them off, because what we're going to do is tuck them like that. Actually, figure out what your top's going to be, because that's the one you want over, if that makes sense. So if this is my top, I'm going to tuck the bottom under and go with the top over. And then just with a little hot glue, we are going to glue that down into place. And of course, we're going to do that all the way around our lid. Again, just a little on the cardboard itself. We're going to tuck the bottom part in. A little bit more hot glue. Tuck the top of the lid over, and if you have a little bit of overhang, like I do in that case, just give it a bit of a trim. It's not going to show at the end once you've given it that trim. Just like so. Okay, so that's it with all the edges folded around. And so now we are going to just take our edging and we're going to glue it around, and that's going to hide those edges and give us the lip of our lid. So, and hot glue will work perfect for this. You don't need any other kind of glue necessarily. Okay, so that's what we're left with at the moment. So now comes the fun decorating part. So set that aside. Now I had these pockets, which of course are all blingy and everything else, and I'm going to use them. Now they're a bit longer than I wanted them to be. So I'm just going to cut them right along there and fold up the inside to make the pocket, if that makes sense. But you'll see what I mean here in a minute. So I'm just going to cut right from corner to corner. Then I'm just going to simply give it a quick fold all the way along and glue it. And I probably will have to do sort of like, you know, glue through both sides, if that makes sense. So I'll fold it over once. And then we'll do the other one as well. Now, if your glue thing isn't absolutely perfect when we glue it on, we can take care of that. So we just want it to not have that raw edge. Once you've got that, so now where our patch job was, I'm going to put one pocket on either side, and that's going to take care of that pretty well. So I'm going to line it up sort of with the bottom here, covering that seam. I think we're just going to move it over just a bit from there. And I'm, again, just using hot glue, I'm going to glue this down. Now I would use quite a bit of the hot glue, so I think I'll start at the bottom because that's the straight edge, and then work my way up from there. But you do want to use quite a bit of glue. Don't be chintzy with it, definitely be very generous. If I get the bottom part down first and well adhered, then I can peel it back, and then I should have my straight edge. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side here with the other pocket, just exactly the same. So that's what you should sort of be left with here. So now, oh, a little glue there. I have this one little pocket that was, you know, those ones that are just on the inside of the front pocket, if you know what I mean. So I had this, and I thought I'm just going to incorporate that right in the middle at the back. So same kind of thing, just some hot glue. Just gonna run a bead along. Be fairly generous again. I think I'm not gonna go right to the bottom of this one, but just make sure I'm getting the feather Great. I'm going to glue that one down. So now it's time to go back to our lid. Okay, so to make the handle for the lid, I've just cut out another little piece of denim. I chose to go with the seam. You can or can't, it's entirely up to you. And simply going to glue it on. This is just a cork, just a regular cork. You could use a thread spool, a piece of dowel, whatever you have in your stash. And again, I'm just going to glue it right on. Just like so. And then in keeping with our bling theme, I've got this jewel just from the Dollarama. Just gonna glue it right on top like that. Now they are sticky on the back. I just don't find the sticky works very well. And that will be in keeping with our bling theme. And then, so originally I was going to use these little diamonds around the edge in keeping with the bling, but I just felt like they didn't sit flush enough. They have the pointy end and they just weren't working for me. So I did go ahead and find this in my stash, and again, this is just from Dollarama. I paid $1.25 for it, and I think that will work just as well to go all the way around as those diamonds. The diamonds, like I said, they just weren't sitting flush for me, and they weren't working very well. So I'm gonna go with those. But again, dig in your stash, see what you've got, what works for your project and what you're after. I'll get those all put on, and then I'll come back and we'll do all the final details. Alright, so there's our bling around the edge. The front I did originally was going to go with a sort of a flower, but again it just kind of stuck up too high. I wasn't happy with it, so I found the square one, which worked beautifully for me. I got strings everywhere. So now all we need to do is put our handle on. So as you can see, I did decide it just needed a little bling, and it kind of hid those seams and keep them from fraying. So I just this. You can buy this in the rolls or the sheets actually at any of the dollar stores. So I'm just going to find middle. We're going to glue him down. And for this, I'm thinking with the fabric, the hot glue should be good enough. If you're using something different, I mean, you can definitely use a wood glue if you're using dowel, or, you know, whatever you think will work best in your situation. So that's the lid all done. So now we've got our tin with our pockets on them that people will put things in. We've got our lid all done. Let's just find the front here. So this, and I will take some better pictures, is what you will be left with when you're done. And I mean, again, with a container like this, possibilities are endless. Goodies in there, gardening things in there, seeds and whatever, bath stuff, just whatever suits whoever it's for. Craft supplies, I think that's what I may do with this one. I've got, some of my girls are very crafty, and I thought what a great way to put some craft stuff in and store it. So that's our finished product, and I really hope you enjoyed it.